So I'm going to put that down for a second. Hopefully you can see this. So the next part that I want to tell you about is actually the remaining part of that night. So I woke up on Friday morning for the show, and I was in a really tough spot. With the move and everything that we've been doing, it's just been hard. We're frustrated. Seb and I are trying our best to keep it together, but we're leaving to go to Florida, and there's a lot of stuff that comes up with that. So I woke up Friday morning thinking to myself, I'm just not going to go to this show. I want to talk to Sev. And although I've been looking forward to this show for the past week when I bought my ticket, I'm in like section one, which I've never been before. Like, if I need to be with my wife, I'm going to be with her. So I sat down in bed when she woke up and told her, say, listen, if you want us to be together tonight, I'll sell my ticket. And she said, no, go. And even though later on, she had asked if maybe I would stay home, I did say, look, I already kind of made some plans at this point in time. I'm gonna go. And she was cool. She's like, you know what? I told you to go before, so that makes sense. You should go. Now, mind you, after in between that time, I was telling my buddies, I'm like, listen, maybe you should sell my ticket for me. And they're both like, no, you're going. And every person I talked to, they said, no, you got to go. Even if things are tough right now, you got to go. You got to go. You got to go. I said, all right, fine, I'll go. So that night, I get to the concert, and I'm with Greg and Dwayne and Diana, and we're hanging out and chilling. And then Greg's brother shows up with his girlfriend, and so I have a friend, Jimmy Farrell. I have a friend, Jimmy Fallon, who works for Phish. He's their tour merchandise manager, and I remember chatting with him earlier in the year, and he's like, hey, if you have a show, let me know. So I end up contacting him, like, yeah, man, we're at the show. So he's like, all right, let's meet. Meanwhile, another friend of mine, Jim Thompson, is saying, hey, let's meet. And another friend, Mark Santola and Justin Amadon, are saying, let's meet. Well, as I'm walking to meet Jimmy, who works for Phish, he's supposed to be coming on his golf cart. As I'm walking to meet him, I get a message from Jim Thompson saying, hey, I'm over near exit 9 in the parking lot, which is right where I'm walking to. I turn the corner, bang, there's Jimmy. And not only that, as soon as I see Jimmy, here comes Mark Santola, who they don't know each other from Adam, comes walking up from behind him. He's like, I heard you laugh from across the parking lot. I knew you were right there. And then here comes Jim's wife, Heidi, who of course is with Jim, who I haven't seen in forever either. So now I've got these three very random people to each other, but they all have a special meaning to me in my life right here. And so then I can't remember who came next, if it was Jimmy who came next or Judd, but the next thing I know, I've got Mark Santola, Jim Thompson, Heidi Thompson, Jimmy Fallon, Justin Amadon, his girlfriend, Sassy, I think her name was. And did I miss somebody? Jimmy, Jim, Heidi, Mark, Judd, Sassy. Oh, yeah, and then there was me. And we're all there together. It's like, it was mind-blowing, the fact that, and you're probably like, so what? You don't get it. It's like you're in this parking lot with tens of thousands of people, and we all happen to be right there near each other. And by the graces of social media, that also kind of helped too. My friends posting pictures and stuff. So big hugs all around. I hadn't seen Mark and Justin since we graduated college back in 97. So this is like almost 20 years. We're talking 19 years since I've seen these guys. And of course, Jim, I hadn't seen him in probably about a good 20 some odd years. And Heidi, Jim and Heidi, I've run into both of them at the bars and stuff. But still, it's mind blowing what happens when you're at these concerts. There's a karma that brings you all together, binds you. And it's like, God's making sure that you find these people in your life because they're there for a reason. And so then I go back over to the table and up there pops Ashley and Andy and their friend Adam. And it's Adam's first show. And it's like, we're just all there together. It was the most beautiful experience in the world because even if we didn't see the show together, like right next to each other, I did with Jimmy though, because Jimmy had access to wherever he wanted to go. So he came over, we hung out for a little while, watched the last part of first set. And Jimmy and I hadn't seen each other since July 8th, 1994, 22 years to the day we went to the Phish concert together, when they played Gamehenge. And here we are now, and he's working for Phish. And it was just the most beautiful experience. I'm sorry that I keep saying it was the most beautiful experience. I'm more eloquent in typing than I am with speaking to a camera. But you have to realize with this move coming up, with us not being in the Northeast for God knows how long after this, I know we'll be visiting, but this is quite possibly my last Phish show at Great Woods. And that in itself is pretty hard to accept, because I saw them so many times there and had so many beautiful experiences with people there and grew up. I mean, like literally over the past, I'm 41 now. I was 19 then, so the past 22 years of seeing Phish at this place, not every year for 22 years, but most times. And to have that be like the culminating concert, to that have it be like, even if I didn't know like all the songs that night, because a lot of them were newer, and if they weren't newer, they were songs that just to me I wasn't more familiar with, because the fact that I listened more intently to the earlier stuff, like from Hoist back, so stuff from like 94 back with some sprinkling in of things from there in the past 22 years. But it didn't matter, because the music was so beautiful regardless, and the energy was so like palatable and contagious. You couldn't help but to fall in love with it. And again, what really mattered was the fact that I had my good buddy from high school standing right next to me for the first time in 22 years, and the last time was at that same place watching Phish. And here we are, a teacher and a tour merchandise manager. People living our lives to the best that we can. And among him, other friends that I've known forever too, that we came out there together with or met there. And even if you weren't right there with each other, you were experiencing the same beautiful, intoxicating, elevating music that these four dudes have been making for 33 years. That is the evidence of God in my book. Now, people can call it whatever they want. They can say it's just life. They can say whatever it was by chance, Sorry. Way more powerful than that. Because after that night, when I woke up the next day, on my few hours worth of sleep before going to start to pack this house that we're leaving, this beautiful house that we love so dearly, but we're gonna change our lives so that we can do something different. There was a peace between Seb and I that hadn't been there for a long time. We laughed, we joked, we had a really good day. And the stress of the house seemed to be just gone. So yeah, I needed to be at that show to purify some frustration and angst and anger, but to also remember that there are far more beautiful things in life, and they're the people that are in your life. And no matter where you are, you will see them again. So, Trey, John, Mike, Paige, thanks. Because you four guys one day decided to get together and jam. You've changed a lot of lives. You've made a lot of smiles. You've brought people together. It's amazing what happens when you take a chance to live your dream.